What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, where we talk about how to enhance your career and your relationships. I'm your host, the Kameron Lovelace, joined as always from the D-Town, from Dr. Sara Lee. What's going on, Dr. Lee?
Nothing much, Cam. Trying to stay cool. It is hot in Dallas. It is officially summertime. It's that dry heat.
Yeah, that dry heat, that
Oh my goodness. I think I walked outside to take something to the trash, came back and I was sweaty. Hot out here. And the pool isn't open. And I'm waiting on them to open up the pool.
Wait, what? Oh, because of social distance.
Social distancing. But I think they're going to open up soon, I hope. They have the rules posted, only 8 people at a time and a bunch of other stuff. But I'm just y'all just go and open up because it's hot. But yeah, other than that, everything is going good. How about you? How's your world?
So it's up and down as far as the weather. So yesterday, you weren't here yesterday, but yesterday it was flash flood,
I heard
craziness. So I think the temperature is starting to regulate and trying to figure out if it's going to be hot and then rebel and then be hot again. A funny thing that you said about the pool. So Mark Van from our church, he came over to the house and did some work on our chimney because, our house was actually, renovated and rebuilt and stuff like that. But the chimney had some the open between the wall and the chimney. So spiders, of course, were just all in there and stuff like that. So he came by, sealed it up and stuff like that. But his cousin actually used to live in this house.
Really?
Yes. And so he told me that there used to be a pool outside in our backyard.
Was it above ground or in ground?
In ground. And yes, in our big backyard that you've seen our backyard, right?
Yeah.
And so there used to be an in-ground pool in there. Okay. And they covered it up. So maybe in the near future we might, dig it up, put it in there. We'll see. I feel like everybody's going to try to come over if we do that.
Of course.
So
yeah, they are.
Debatable between that, but just funny that you said pool, and I just thought, I was yeah, pools should be open right now, but no, pools should not be open. That will be a cesspool for COVID. So,
because the virus spreads through your droplets. I did not know that. That's how it spreads.
Sneeze.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna just wait on that. We're just gonna stay inside.
Listen. That's just
right now.
We're definitely gonna get into that, but I definitely feel you on the dry heat. You know what I love about the Bahamas?
What?
Is that even though it's hot, it's still a breeze coming because it's an island. So the breeze is still hitting you. So even though it's hot, even though it's sunny, you're still feeling the breeze throughout the day. So you might sweat a little bit, but it's not like Texas dry heat where you just
or Memphis heat, it's just humid. That's the difference. It's breezy in Bahamas, but it's humid.
Yeah, so Memphis, you'll just sweat. You'll sweat in Texas heat too, but it's just Jesus, it's just thick. It's like a thick heat versus a dry heat.
It's so hot outside. My grandma used to say, it's so hot outside, it make you want to get your life right with the Lord.
I have heard this saying several times before.
Yeah, that's right too. Mm-hmm. It's so hot outside, you want to get your life right with Jesus. Because you just can't make it.
Well, Mama always would say, she was like, "Ooh, I'm so glad I'm saved." I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it in hell.
Couldn't make it. You gotta go get you some Jesus.
Well, I tell you, the Southern sayings just will get you every time.
Won't they?
Get you every single time. Do I have am I tripping or no? Well, no, I do have am I tripping or not? Am I tripping, or does it just seem like there's just so much white love coming your direction?
Oh my goodness.
In today's time. I ain't never experienced this much white love before, and people speaking out and defending and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. There was an AKA that goes to my school. She said she wasn't. She said she debated posting it, but she put one of her old high school classmates on blast who was basically harassing her. and he got fired from his job.
Let me tell you something. I said this earlier today, and Ken's response was, "They scared. That's why they scared. It probably didn't click that these black people ain't playing. They don't want no more smoke, so they just get with the program." Like, I agree. It's almost cringy, like cringe. Like, it's kind of cringy for me now because now I'm like, okay, y'all just kind of doing the most. Because I saw the pictures of Congress or senators and House representatives in their kente cloth, like Medea say, get the kente oil, their kente cloth on. And I was just like, it's okay. Like, so this is the thing. So to our non-Black listeners of the world, I understand the cycle that you go through when you recognize your white privilege and the white guilt, and you just want to make everything right. I get it. It's okay. Just acknowledge your people, and by acknowledgement, we don't mean you gotta say hey to every Black person in the street. Or I saw somebody posted that some random person walked up to them in the gym and was like, "Oh, I see you in here all the time. Good job." Like, I think there's a disconnect with what we are asking and what they think. And so I think that when we say we just want you all to acknowledge us, respect us, just see us as human beings, it does not mean you have to go and physically acknowledge us or go buy some kente cloth or go, I don't know, to every hood in America and
Listen, I just want to know.
pass out turkeys. I don't know.
I just want to know who brought this up
On what, the kente cloth?
The kente cloth and the knee.
Who signed off on that
and
one?
Said, "This, hey, I got a great idea. Let's order some kente cloths in bulk
And wear red and black and green
and come on national TV
and kneel
and take a knee." Now, first of all, Kevin on stage made a great point in his breakdown of this. Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old, taking a knee for 8 minutes. Now, I don't know about you, but when you get on a knee, you got to be, ready to get up. She needed help getting up. I just want to know whose idea was it to come before everyone, send out this mass email, because they didn't meet together. They got on a Zoom call. They said, "Hey, I got a great idea.
Do this.
Let's do this." And I want to know who sold them the kente cloth. That's what I want to know.
They probably bought it on Allied Express or somewhere online.
Who is responsible for
they got it online?
The kente cloths.
But the thing that I really do hate about that whole situation is, so they did all of that to release like their new like bill that they want to get passed. And I feel like it's such a great bill, but we're not even talking about the bill. We're talking about this kente cloth and all y'all, and that was the part that I'm just like, I saw somebody post like, we get it, but we done lost the meaning of why y'all even down there. Like, what y'all really trying to do is gone. We're not even talking about it.
Really unintentionally made it into a joke.
Y'all did. Y'all made it into a joke. Now, let me tell you something. If they would have did the Wakanda Forever, I would have just died. I would have just died in that moment. I would have. I would have been no good. I would have just been done.
Some intern was like, "No,
don't do it.
No, please."
But they are like, I've seen so many videos of just white people standing up, and I'm thinking to myself, where was all this rah-rah a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 years ago,
10 years ago,
8 years ago?
It's crazy to think that it's been like 10 years since Trayvon.
10 years. Like, where was all this rah-rah? Like, it which further lets me know that you all have seen it. You all have seen it. You all have ignored it. You all have thought that, oh, this is just one thing. It's not really a thing. That's just one person, everybody gave so many justifications for that. Oh, all lives matter, or blue lives matter, or this, and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden, it's, oh no, we need to defund the police. We need to do this. We need to do that. Let's paint Black Lives Matters in real big letters. Let's march. Let's protest. Let's, go up to every Black person I see. Let me video. Because now a lot of these videos are white people videoing.
Oh, I've seen several white people going in, like cursing, like, listen, you racist SOB, you don't get it. All lives matter does not mean blah, blah, blah. Black lives matter right now. That's all I'm telling going. I'm like,
man, like, where was this energy? Like, y'all had this energy?
I think I realized that of course, COVID and forcing everybody to be inside and everybody forced to sit there and watch 8 minutes of, him living his last breath. But I think I think also it's like positive peer pressure in that, you see that other white people are speaking out. So it's like, okay for white people to speak out. Some people, let me tell you something. I saw his other post that said, listen, shout out to Generation Z who's been standing up to their racist parents boldly and then putting it and documenting it and put it on. I was worried about y'all when y'all did the little Tide Pod challenge, but y'all coming around now. That's what the post says. Like, but for real though, like Gen Z has been like putting their racist parents on blast.
Yeah. And I personally, I think that takes a lot of courage, because coming from where I come from, I grew up small town Mississippi, and you grew up in Arkansas, so it's like we know we have classmates whose parents or grandparents ain't really with it. You know what I mean? And I know that those are things that are like generational things that they pass down. It's like a mindset that they pass down. Like, you don't go to this certain part of town, right? You don't hang out with this certain type of people. And for this Generation Z to take a stand against that, like, that takes a lot of courage to take a stand against your family, because you're essentially taking a stand against a mindset that your family has, which takes a lot of courage. Right. Because it's so funny. One of Ken's friends was like, they've just been so shocked at like their former classmates and the things that they've been posting and how they had to delete people. And my response was, oh, I deleted people in 2008 when Obama was elected. Let me tell you something. When I found out, listen, 2008 was the year of reckoning for Sarah Lee Ann Benson, because my classmates showed they natural behinds over that. And guess what I did? Delete. I probably got maybe one or two, maybe three white classmates who are my friends on Facebook at this moment. And that's because those people get it. The rest of them people, oh no. But one of them I didn't delete. I just unfollowed him so he could see all my pro-Black stuff, because I wanted him to catch this.
That's my strategy. I ain't deleted nobody from my high school class. Not that any of them are just outwardly like racist or anything. Although I feel like the algorithm has like made sure not to put that stuff in front of me.
Really? They learned that one? Mine definitely not.
I don't know what's going on with that. But I feel like I can't just outwardly just pick anybody that is just like overtly, outwardly, boldly, I'm gonna post on Facebook racist.
Yeah.
I can't think of one from my high school class. My high school is pretty diverse. So
really?
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, my high school is now considered the Black school in DeSoto County.
Right. You told me that before, that back when you were there, it was.
Yeah, it was like maybe 25% Black, 25% Hispanic, 50% white. But in literally 10 years, because I remember 10 years, white flight happened in Horn Lake. And pretty much all of the white people either moved to Olive Branch or they moved deeper into the country. And so Horn Lake High School is now majority Black. Shoot, we getting our first little Black. We're getting another Black principal this year. I found out they're getting another Black principal. But even so, what's interesting is I'm taking this back. So my former high school cheerleading coach, I love this lady. I used to call this lady my white mama. But that's just how I felt, because she was just so just. I thought she was with us, Cam.
Oh Lord, what'd she
I
say?
thought she was with us, Cam. Trump's election. And I was like, this lady has lost her mind. I was getting into it with her daughter on Facebook. Me and her daughter. Now, mind you, I have known this girl. I had known this girl since she was a little bitty girl, because she was younger than us. And so this was my coach sophomore year to senior year. So I've known this girl, known these kids. You know what I mean? The whole shebang, right? When I tell you, it got to a point where her daughter, like, I had posted something. This was like a few days after, it might have been a week after Trump was elected, and somebody had posted something about Melania. Because you remember how when they first got into office, everybody was like, "Oh, poor Melania," and "Poor her," and "Oh my goodness, she has to be with this," like really paint her as a victim. And so I had put this post that this actually, it was a post by a white woman who was saying, like, y'all don't realize what y'all are perpetuating by saying this. Like, y'all are like making it seem like she's just damsel in distress. Like, it was really like it was one of them posts. Like, it wasn't even on no forget Trump type of post. It's like, why are y'all pushing this narrative again of polar white girl that need to be saved? And do you know this girl? The girl, like, just went off. Like, I guess I triggered something in her. I don't know what I did. I triggered something. I guess she was tired of me. She was tired of me. And she went off, Cam. Like, I guess she was reading me my rights. Do you know I didn't have to say nothing? My, like, really cool white friends jumped on the post and, like, got her together. Like, it was funny. They got that girl together. And they were like, first of all, no, like, she is not. It was like, do you even realize what you're saying? Like, this is a stereotype about us that she's speaking out against. And you just up here just going off. And so she was like, she wasn't gonna be my friend. I was like, bye, girl. I was like, good riddance, sweetheart, is what I told her. But it's like the people who you be around could secretly feel this type of way. Because let me tell you something, my cheerleading coach just believes that just Trump, just the Lord is gonna use him, is what she said. That was her post, that Jesus is gonna use him, and he's just a praying Christian, and he's just gonna turn this world around, and Jesus is gonna use him. And I'm thinking to myself, really? I understand. Listen, I know the power of the Holy Spirit. I know God can do some miraculous things.
However,
that man, I just don't. You know what? I'm gonna get off my soapbox about him. Long story short, white people are now waking up, or they realizing, or maybe they don't want to be fired, so they want to be on the bandwagon. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think something else that I heard from an influencer was that it took me 25 years to realize this, and it's unfortunate that it took me 25 years to realize this, but it is not enough to just not be racist.
Yeah.
You have to be outwardly and openly and loudly anti-racist.
Yep.
And I think that galvanized a lot of people to just speak out. And when they see something now, and when they hear a joke now in the privacy of them, of just white people events, or when they see things happening, they are empowered now to speak out about it.
I agree. I saw a video of this couple and this little boy. So this little boy, the little boy had to been about 13, 14, was on a bike. And I guess he was riding on the sidewalk. And the video is of this white couple going off on this white lady who was trying to, basically the lady was threatening to call the police on the little boy because he was riding his bike. Like, the little boy was trying, I think he was trying to go home. And he was riding on the sidewalk, and I guess the white lady and her husband was walking, and he was trying to get through. And on the video, you see this white guy and his wife calling the lady out. And they was like, you know what, that's really racist. They was like, well, he's this and he's that. They was like, he's a child. Like, he is a kid. And so the white dude literally put his body in between the white lady so the little boy can ride his bike. And this happened like a week or two ago. And the lady was trying to justify it. She was like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. And what she say? She was saying something about he's not supposed to be riding. She tried to say the little boy was like threatening her. And the dude was like, he's on a bike. He's just trying to go home. And the lady was like legit trying to like justify like harassing this kid. Huh?
Calling the police on this little boy.
Yeah, she was threatening to call the police on this little boy for riding his bike to go home. And I have to give it up to the white people. They was like, no, you're not gonna do that. Like, he's a kid. Like, let him ride his bike. And so he got in the middle of them so he can go through. Because the little boy was like, I'm just trying to go through, like, you stopping me. Like, I'm just trying to get home and you're stopping me from riding my bike. And the white lady said, well, you're not supposed to be doing this, da da da. And they helped him. So I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the people who see something and they step in and say something. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times they don't. They just be sitting there looking.
Right. And so that begs the question, and the caveat to the topic of this podcast is, where do we really go from here? And I know last week we talked about, you know, a little bit about what you can do and doing that, but we really wanted to go like kind of in depth today about what it is that we really can do. So first of all, let me say that shout out to all the corporations who have openly, you know, made some type of post and so on and so forth. So I want to particularly draw attention to companies who are providing like resources. So for example, I saw somebody post Elf, the makeup company, I believe, whatever they produce. I don't know.
Yeah, it's makeup.
So they not only spoke out, but they provided like resources that you can read, resources that you can watch. They put on petitions that you could sign up for, organizations that you can donate to. Like, they provided like resources for people to actually take action. So shout out to companies who are doing that. Also, I do want to draw attention to the companies that are actually going to do things in action. So, for example, co-founder of Reddit, I will not even pretend to pronounce his name.
Alexis Ohanian.
Yes, Ohanian.
Serena's husband.
Shout out to Serena.
Queen Serena.
And them. He stepped down. He is the co-founder of Reddit. Yeah. He stepped down in order to make room for diversity on his top level. And why, and I guess I want to break down why that's very significant and why that's important to have it, is that the thing about systemic racism, because there's a difference between, you know, the racism that Sarah was talking about with the little boy, and then there's a systemic racism, as in there's a system that was influenced by racism. And so so to get to that, you really got to break it down. Like, what does racism even come from? Well, racism originally comes from the 1400s, when they needed something to be able to identify who they were against and who they were for, and color of skin was what they went with.
Very easily identifiable.
Right. So the concept of race is only 600 plus years old.
Yep.
Even before then. And I mean, the concept of racism and, you know, hating people for their skin is not new, is longer than 600. But the concept of the race Black, the race Caucasian, the race, all that is still relatively new as far as the
very much so, especially in the United States.
Especially in the United States. So racism was basically a construct of what they used to identify their enemies and to identify what they can do to basically help labor costs. Mm-hmm. If I can get about 150 to 100 slaves on my plantation, on my stuff, and do free labor, and all I got to do is maybe give them a little bit of food here and there, and I can keep all the money that I make from the work that they're doing, then I will be very profitable, which is why the Civil War was such a big deal, because
slavery and money.
It is primarily about money, and the money that they are producing and generating and all that good stuff. And the fact that they look at us as less than human.
3/5 of a man.
3/5 of a man. So, so moving right along into okay, so we're losing out on the slave money, but okay, the world is changing. We're moving now into the industrial age where we're talking about, you know, building stuff and doing stuff. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pay them pennies to the white man's $5.
Yep.
So we're gonna give them a lower paying job, lower paying wages. We're gonna make them clean the toilets. We're gonna make them sweep up this, handle cow manures, and do the very hardest of the hard jobs.
Be sharecroppers.
And we're gonna sharecroppers, and we're gonna pay them nothing, even though we're making top dollar on their work in the backs of their work.
Yep.
And so what we're also going to do is we're going to put them in the worst neighborhoods where they don't have access to our resources. Now, part of that for age backfired because Black people are very resourceful. And then we have thriving communities such as Black Wall Street, which we, of course, we're thriving in and doing our own thing because we didn't have access to your stuff. So we just, okay, we're going to do our own thing, which produced lots of revenue and produced millionaires and stuff like that. Until 99 years ago when they came and burned that down. You guys can look the research up for yourself if you've never heard this before.
Tulsa, guys.
Yep, Tulsa.
It's not good enough for us to have our own, but y'all can't even let us thrive. So it's gonna bring you down.
So, and this was like, I think 20-ish, 30-ish years before civil rights movement. Because it was
give
or take.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we said 99 years. So then moving to the process of what we call redlining, where we're putting the African Americans, the Blacks, the niggers into communities, and we're going to have funding that only goes to the higher paying communities instead of the communities. So the schools that are on this side of town near the Black neighborhoods will not be funded as much as the white people, because the people that are in the lower paying neighborhood, they pay less taxes because they don't make no money, because the people won't let them get higher paying jobs or even buy houses that are bigger, better. And back then, obviously this is a different age. So my 10 kids are now living in a 2-bedroom house, and they're sleeping all over the place and got an outhouse in the back.
Yep.
And then they're also walking to school because, well, they might take a bus, maybe a bus, depending on your town. But all of that is contributed, is one of the motivation behind all of this, of course, was race, because we're going to keep them where they're down, and we're going to try to keep them down as hard as we can. And the system through which to become successful is that much more challenging.
Yep. And let's not even get on the topic of districting and voting and politics.
Right.
And if you even to this day look at how districts are drawn up, you can see how they were deliberately drawn to basically break up the Black communities. And I can give you an example. There's a college in Florida, I think. There's a district line that goes directly in the middle of the college. So you mean to tell me one college campus has 2 districts on it?
No, that's crazy.
Ain't that crazy? But you want to know why?
Why?
Because they don't want us to vote. And all of this happened right after the Voting Rights Acts were enacted.
So yeah. So there is a system that was put in place way back when that the effects of it are still causing challenges today. Why people are turning to drugs? Because they don't have access to education, vocational training, stuff like that, because all they're seeing is this, and the school that they go to is underfunded, so they don't have robotics club, they don't have key club, they don't have acting, they don't have performing arts at their school, because the schools are underfunded, because the school is in this side of the red line, which is underfunded and poverty population, which of course is a result of you not being able to get the job because you're not qualified. Funny how this all is in a cycle and works like that. So when we break down like all the thing, so going back to Alexis and why that was so significant is because when you are a corporation and company and recognize, hey, we need diversity on there, because that says that anybody can make it to here. Because if you got an all white board, then it's very hard for a person of color, you know, Black, Mexican, Chinese, whatever, can even make it up to that level. Because everybody can get a job. Yeah, sure, cool. But not everybody can progress through the job. So
that's true.
wanted to give him his props, and other companies. We'll see who follows suit. But if anybody else follows suit, definitely want to give us the props. But for those of us who are not a CEO of a major app or a corporation, what is it that we can do? And
there are things we can do.
Right. And that is what begs the question. And of course, everyone's gonna first response, especially everybody that's older, is to say, well, go out and vote. Correct. You do need to go vote. That is, you need to exercise your civil rights. It will help, absolutely. But I am of the particular mindset that, as the saying goes, I'm going to pray like it depends on God, but I'm going to work like it depends on me. Yeah. Along that same breath, I'm going to vote the people that I believe can go in and make a difference, and will listen to the people and do the things that I hope that they would do. But at the same time, me as the individual, as the person of the city, as the person of the county, of the state, of this country, what is it that you can do tooth and nail to contribute to the problem? And so one of those things that I definitely want to implore on you guys is to do your best to attain like power. And not like powers and like strong power, but I mean like attain like power within your own breath, especially economic power. If you guys can, you know, save up some money, invest in the real estate market, invest in your own communities. One of our members of our church who sits on the ELS board, he was like, I got to take on myself. I got to buy more property from where I'm from in Orange Mound. For those of y'all who are in Memphis, he said, I got to buy more property in Orange Mound and make the neighborhood better so that we can get the funding and get the resources that I need that the government may not get us. I can go in and make a difference because I'm well off. I don't live in that community no more, but I can still influence and give back to the community. So when you have economic power, you can actually go in and start making changes. You can go to golf with these people on these corporations. You can talk with these people that are on the board of nonprofits and put these little Black boys and girls who are killing the game on their radar to donate to. So you have to attain some sort of economic power within your own right. Now, you can gain that more than just you as an individual. You can gain that collectively.
Yeah.
And so the reason why the Montgomery, pretty sure it was Montgomery. Help me out, Sarah.
Montgomery bus boycott. Yes.
I want to make sure it wasn't Birmingham because I think I said Birmingham to another group. But the Montgomery bus boycott was so impactful because it hit their pockets like for 381 days straight. No African Americans contributing a penny to the bus through the bus system, which I imagine their economy for that year probably dropped and then went back up once the legislation was passed.
It did.
So you can do things collectively. Like, I mean, some people on social media and T.I., I think, is, you know, calling for supporting more Black businesses, which, hold on, I'm going to get back on this, but I'm a side note. If you have a Black business, what I need you to do is to provide excellent service and an excellent experience. I am not a proponent of just supporting you just because you're Black. Honestly, like, truth, swear to God. I was on a call with some youth and stuff like that, and somebody that was an adult on the line was like, yeah, and we need to, you know, support Black businesses and, you know, stop supporting businesses like Walmart, Amazon. And I honestly, I was like, whoa, okay, wait, hold up right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. As long as Jeff Bezos and the company does not say anything racist, I'm still gonna
support Amazon.
I'm still gonna support Amazon. You know why? Because Amazon provides an excellent 2-day shipping service that nobody else can beat.
That is true.
And so as long as they are still good graces, as long as they don't say nothing racist, as long as they're still employing people, and I know people that work for Amazon. So
yeah, my brother works for Amazon now, so.
Yeah, so they're employing, Black people. I don't know on the corporate where I need to look at that. But if I say all that to say, if you are a Black business listening to this, make sure that you're providing an excellent service.
Yeah.
You gonna especially, you gonna charge what you need to charge to make your ends meet, to make your numbers get it. I get it. Got no problem paying a little bit more to support, but make sure that when I'm with your workers, I'm with your servers, wherever industry you're in, that you don't have an attitude, that I'm getting my products when you say I'm going to get my products.
Yeah.
And that is an excellent customer experience. All right.
Well, to add to that, just to add one more thing, I do want to say this to those who are owners: don't sell yourself short. On top of that, so provide excellent service, but also don't sell yourself short. Because I know many of us will like decrease what we really want to sell just so that we can get people to buy it. No, Walmart, Amazon, all these other people, they don't decrease themselves just to make a sale. If they want it, they will buy it. If they want it, they will buy it. If you provide an excellent service and an excellent product, people are going to buy it. Right. So yeah, so put that out there.
Absolutely. So let's shift back. So shifting back to economic empowerment. That's really honestly was going to move the needle. When you start hitting these companies in their pockets, you see what Target did. Target boarded up all their locations I feel like they just boarded up in major Black cities, because Memphis was boarding up, but Memphis is way far away from Minneapolis, and we weren't even doing nothing like that.
They boarded up the Memphis Targets.
Oh, yeah, the one on Poplar boarded up.
Did I know that?
Yeah. But you definitely want to look into some type of economic power that your community can flex, that you can initiate in. So, because all economy is, don't let the fancy terminology and fancy analysts fool you. All money is just an exchange of hands, and who has it. So when the market is down, that means that people that are on the lower end, their money is way up there up top to the people that have it, because they always got it. The people up top are always going to have money, but it's just going to be a surplus. So it's just exchanging and taking the money that you were spending in one place and putting it in a different place. Because when that happens, the government starts to move. Look at this $1 trillion stimulus package. It moves the needle a little bit.
I agree. I think that Black people, we have such a major economic influence, and we have such a major buying power that we have the ability to make some changes. One of the things me and Ken did, we joined this Dallas Black restaurants group that just showcases different Black restaurants. And it's wow, these are people who we can go support. We can go support these restaurants. We can go support these businesses. We can go and just be supportive and buy these products, because there's something out there for everybody. Now, if there was somebody who had a Black Amazon, I would support it. If they could give me 2-day shipping.
2-day shipping. Look. And then Amazon keeps stacking stuff on top of it. It's oh, we'll give you Prime Video. Oh, we'll give you Kindle too. What else you want?
I would support it in a heartbeat. Simply because we do I agree that the economic piece of this is how we'll be able to make some changes. Because when you think about the Montgomery Boys boycott for 381 days, oh, they felt that. They felt that. But the thing about it is, the Black people then, they had this persistence. Correct. They had this drive to stick with it. So this isn't something that you can just do for a few days or a few weeks. You gotta stick with it. You have to follow through. And it was to a point to where I saw videos, people just walking in the dead heat of the summer. And if you've been to Alabama, it is hot. But they wanted change.
They did.
What they believed in was greater than the discomfort that they felt in that moment. And that's one of the things that we have to realize, that some of the things that we're going to have to do, it's going to be a little difficult. But this is what is needed for change. This is what's needed for something different. Because I think collectively, everybody's just tired. Black people, and I can say a few white people probably just tired too. They probably tired of seeing everything and doing everything, so they probably want some change too. So
white people are outraged. It's crazy. White people get outraged. They
tired. They want to be able to go and enjoy life too. So listen, until everybody is able to enjoy and partake and be able to be free in this world, everybody's gonna be uncomfortable. So tell your friends, your parents, your meemaws and pawpaws to get with the program.
Right, because you've been put on notice. We will cancel you and your company and corporation if you do not come out and overtly denounce racism. But moving right along, I want to get definitely to the individual aspect. So that's definitely what you can do more as a collective.
Yeah,
that's a long-term process, because I mean, for those of you who are younger, I mean, I still got student loans. Sarah still got a student loan.
listen,
we still got stuff we got to pay off before we can, just be balling like that. Because I'm gonna be a millionaire, but I'm not gonna be a millionaire tomorrow.
right. But when we do,
it's gonna be a game changer, and I'm gonna do my best to empower those coming behind me. But what is it right now that we can do? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not going to protest, especially right now. While COVID, y'all can comment, y'all can do whatever, y'all can say, Kameron, how could you say all this smoke and do it? Look, it's too hot, and COVID is still out there. I'm not finna put myself through that. It's just not what I'm going to do.
And
However,
it's okay.
yes, however, that's okay. I can still help, because even on this past Friday, I held a support group for young 6th through 12th graders to come voice their opinions and empower them and educate them on some things that they can do.
Yeah.
And that is one of my superpowers.
Contribution.
Right. And so with that being said, I definitely want to empower you by saying, what is your superpower? What is your superpower that you can particularly do? Some of you are like natural born like leaders, and like when we give you the baton, like you go with it. You're okay with being on the front lines. You're okay with making stuff happen. You're okay with setting up a website, hitting the petition, sharing the petition, getting people, stuff like that. Other people that are more extroverted, love to talk, you guys are like the galvanizers. You're the ones who like are really like encouraging. You guys can make speeches, you guys can perform poetry, you guys provide positivity, like optimism, like throughout the whole process, encouraging people, and doing those things. Like that is your natural like expression. That's your thing. So like the protest, that's your jam. Like producing videos about this, that's what you do. Like anything that is capitalizing on your superpower, and everybody has some form of this. So don't listen to it and be like, that's not me. No, I'm not done with you yet. For you introverts, yeah, you thought I left you out. For you introverts, some of you are either in one or two categories. You are either the ones who are just like, I may not speak up a lot, but I'm willing to do whatever to do my part. You guys are just the natural supporters, the team leaders, the ones who's gonna maybe go pick up a case of water, and just go donate it and drop it off, saying, hey, I see y'all marching, here's some water. The ones who will like draw the signs, the ones who will sign the petitions, the ones who will share the petitions, the one who will have support groups and really listen to people's thoughts and help them process and walk through it. Or you're the strategist. And by strategist, you're the ones who's going to look back, sit back, listen, watch, pray, and do all these things and see, okay, we need to move the needle over here first. Let's say you sit back, you're on a committee, you're listening to everybody's thoughts and formats, and you're like, okay, this is great. I think we should approach this first, because we can maximize here and then do it in a systematic place and put it together beautifully, unlike everybody else. Not everybody can do that. And that's a special talent. So everybody has a role in a place. And when all those different gifts and people are working together, then we got a well-oiled machine that doesn't burn out. Because the worst thing that could happen is this momentum burns out. And but when everybody is doing their own role, that is when we're going to keep it rolling and keep it consistent and continue to thrive and keep it going upward. So that not only when we're voting in the coming weeks, in the coming months. We're not just voting in November, but we're voting in June for local elections. We're voting in July for a county. For voting in August. Whenever the voting system comes up, because there's at least one election every year.
Yeah, there is.
In some way, shape, or form. But knowing that you're like, when everybody is in their role, that is when we as a community and as a system and as a team can do the work.
I agree. I really agree with you. I mean, everybody, like Cam said, everybody has their own talents. You have your own sets of skills. Just do what you are good at doing. And don't feel bad if you aren't going to protest. If protest is not your jam, it's okay. Because trust me, I'm not out there. If this was 2012, between 2011 to probably about 18-ish, I'd probably be out there with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was way more of a hothead back then. But now I'm just like, one is hot, COVID, and I know that I can voice my voice. I can use my voice in other ways.
Right.
So I don't necessarily have to protest. I can sign petitions. I can open up safe spaces in my job, right? So one of the things that I recognize I have the ability to do and have been gifted to do is I can help change the culture surrounding race at my workplace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can help start those conversations. So it not only impacts me, it impacts all of the other people, all of the other Black people in my job, all the people we're going to hire, right? Like that's a big impact when you think about it. To be able to have those conversations, like that's the change that I can make here. You know, I can have those conversations with people. I can host support groups.
Right.
You know? And so for each person, like Cam said, do what you can with the skills that you have. If you're going to protest, go protest. I actually had this conversation with some of my success coaches, and one of my success coaches, he said that. He was like, you know, he's like, I'm not going to go out there. He was like, but I am saying something on my social media, or I am having these conversations. I am doing this. And I told him, I said, don't feel bad for not going out there. Everybody doesn't have to go out there, because trust and believe, back in the 60s, everybody wasn't out protesting. Some people were. Mm-hmm. Some people didn't. Some people decided, you know what, I want to try to hit this from within the system. So guess what they did? They went on to law school, or they went on to these other places. They tried to get into these jobs, right? Even though they might have been the only one, they tried to make a pathway so that other people could come. So it's different ways to skin a cat, like my grandma will say. Right. It's several ways we could do this, right? So I'm saying all this to say is, don't feel bad for not doing anything, and don't make other people feel bad if they're not skinning this cat like you. Because we need people to protest. We also need people in Congress, right? We need people on the local level. We need these people who can get on city council, mm-hmm. who can get into these places to help, like Cam said, make all of this work. Right. So yeah, do what you can and be okay with doing what you can.
Yeah, we all can do our part. And so that's why you got to know your role. And yes. So, for those of you who don't know your role, I encourage you. So go on the website, CameronLovelace.com/W2J, and let's schedule a session. I want you to really feel empowered, and I'm going to walk with you through your gifts, your talents, your weaknesses, and really empower you to really go out and capitalize on your gifts. Yeah. Everybody that's done a session with me has walked away like feeling empowered and ready to go. And so when you do that on a grand scale, and the thing about the most successful people is that they know what they know, and they leave what they don't know to somebody else. Yeah. They don't try to do, everything by themselves, because they know they're not an expert in that, but they focus on the things that they're really, 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 really good at, and do it on such a scale that they're successful. If Bill Gates tries to dunk a basketball, he's going to look like a fool. But when LeBron James does it, looks spectacular.
He's good at.
And when you give him some technology, when you put him in a room that's going to think about technology over the next few years, Bill Gates can come up with some great ideas. so everybody has their role in their lane where they can thrive and just make a difference. And everybody just has that specific role. Everybody, like, and I really want to say shout out to everybody who is having these tough conversations, because I know it's not easy. And it really takes a level head to be able to listen. And those of you who are not trained in mental health, I know this is even harder. It's hard to listen, not get infuriated, allow them the space, and then educate them on what the truth is and how to go about it. And I know that's easier said than done, and it's harder for most people. So shout out for those of you who are like Sarah and I, having those conversations in those safe places that don't seem so safe, but really pushing the needle and having those tough conversations.
Yeah. And being, I'm trying to think what's the word. So like, I guess because in our training, we've had these conversations before, so we understand like the cycles of people's guilt and them wanting to, in their best. So one of the things we have to recognize is that for a lot of non-Black people, this might be their first time of addressing their privilege. Mm-hmm. And so that can be, they can experience a lot of things, not giving it as an excuse, but in their own way, I think they're trying to make us be seen or something. But so just be under a little understanding and just kind of have those still have those conversations and kind of walk them through. Right. Because I've seen it all, from the tears to everything else in the world. So yeah.
Yeah.
Still have the conversation. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still have the conversation.
I think it's just mostly guilt.
And it is guilt.
And it's just a realization that, white people have been bugging since the beginning of white people. Like, y'all been bugging from the inception of this country, inception of Europe, the inception of where, like, anytime you insert white people, like, you bugging. Not like this is, and mind you, this is like the words of like a white person that I'm summarizing. Yeah. And I think the realization of that and just how deep the rabbit hole goes, and then having the curtain pulled back,
and then to see everything else that's happening,
and you're just like, whoa, like, I'm sorry. And we're like, I mean, we already know what was happening. It's fine. It's not like you blame. And let me say this to follow up on what Sarah says. Try, if the people that are around you, that you work with, go to church with, go all these scenarios with, that you enact with on a regular basis, if they are not overtly disrespecting you, try not to take it out on them.
Don't be disrespectful.
Like, if they are not, like, intentionally tone deaf, intentionally, don't even get me started on Drew Brees. We're gonna leave that where it's at.
Yeah,
the sports commentators
educate.
But don't nail them to the cross of the burnt. Let me say, don't nail them to the burning cross of the Ku Klux Klan. But just allow them to process. Like Sarah said, everybody goes through a little process of receiving information. But also challenge them to take action.
Yeah, be better
within their family reunions, within their conversations that we will never hear. Encourage them to have those tough conversations and pay attention and make change when you see BS.
Yeah, I agree. Because some people, I have learned that a lot of people don't realize how deep racism and systematic racism goes, or just our own biases. Mm-hmm. That it goes really deep. And when you are made aware of that, it can be very alarming for a lot of people, especially when they may have felt like they weren't a part of the system. Mm-hmm. Right? So there are some white people who feel like they weren't a part of the system, that they've always been down, whatever. But the reality of it is, some of the things that you do is a part of that system. If you find yourself clinging to your bag when Black people get on the elevator, mm-hmm. or if you find yourself like shifting, or just, it's subtle things that I don't think people understand. And it's like, that's a part of the system. Because let me tell you something, sis, I'm more afraid of this white man than this black man getting on this elevator. Because what the TV say, the same TV that's telling you that all black men are thugs is the same TV that's telling me all these white men are crazy, axe murderers, and gonna blow something up or something. So, or them the robbers. So while you clutching your bag, because I'm getting on this train, I'm clutching my bag too, which isn't good. But what I'm saying is, like, we don't realize how deep that is, right? We don't realize how deep that can get. So,
matter of fact, let me go over two examples of how deep it is, and then I'm gonna get off this soapbox. And I promise, I'm gonna beat the systemic white people up.
Yeah, we're gonna stop beating up on y'all.
Last I'm gonna say of it, but I have to get these two examples out. So, first and foremost, my wife's I'll say birth name. Her first name is Tanya.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's her first name, Tanya.
I like that. That's so beautiful.
Now, yeah, I'm glad that you think so. But the thing about it is, if you don't think it's beautiful, you don't even know how to pronounce it, much less figure out. But if you look at that name on paper, chances are you're going to assume, hey, this is a black person. This is a person of color. Because I will say this. We black people have, we're very creative with our names.
So are white people. Hold on. White people are creative.
But I ain't never heard a white girl named Watermelon Andrea.
Name what?
Watermelon Andrea.
They named their babies Apple and Coco and Stormy and Barley, Marley, Carly.
You know what? That's right. You got to, but you definitely can look at that and some of that and be like, oh, Stormy Johnson, who went to, give me a white institution, who went to, I don't want to say Harvard, but let's say Columbia, who went to Stanford, who went to these institutions. You can look at them on paper and tell that these people are white. I can recall a time when Sparkle was, on her first work visa and was applying to jobs, applying left and right, applying blah, 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 blah. And I looked at her application and I was like, I wonder. I didn't have, of course, distinct proof, but I can definitely wonder if they looked at her first name and said, this person is black. I don't want her. I can't even pronounce her name. So I'm not even going to call her in for an interview, even though she's qualified. She has community service. She has customer service experience.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give her that. So I say that to say an example of the systemic racism is that initial looking. So I'm that initial presentation of your name, let's say on a resume. I'm lucky enough that Kameron Lovelace, can seem like a either or name. So it's nothing for me to call. And because I didn't realize this until like later in life. And is that I know how to effectively and efficiently code switch without a blink of an eye.
It's because you are.
Because I have learned innately, without even being taught it, like without second guessing or anything, I know how to code switch between talking to a white person and talking to a person of color. I remember I was in a store at Route 21 talking to a white friend, mind you. We were talking, have a conversation. One of my black friends come in the store, and I said, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?" And she was like, "Whoa, you just talked." And I wasn't offended at this because I was just like, you just don't know. She said, "You just talked really gangster" when he walked in.
Not the gangster.
16-year-old white girl. This was almost 10 years ago, so I let it. It is what it is.
I already know.
Right. But it is things like that is an issue. And I'm trying to remember my other example that I had. I'll remember it and I'm gonna beat up myself. You got one?
Not necessarily an example, but to kind of go off this whole name thing. I know for me, people hear my name and they automatically think white woman.
Yes.
And when I come to the room, a little bit of surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like I have to prove myself in a sense because they hear my name and they expect something else. So like I can give y'all an example from my very first semester of teaching undergraduates. I was a graduate student in very first semester, have never stepped foot in a classroom as a teacher, like a formal teaching. My very first day of class, I was in my classroom waiting. And it wasn't until like 20 minutes go by, I'm like, where are my students? I walk outside, all of my students were lined up. And the reason why they were lined up is because somebody walked by and they saw me and they did not think. So the way Memphis does it, you just get the teacher's name.
Yep.
You don't get a picture or.
Oh, other schools do it too. But yeah.
They did not think
That
I was their teacher. Me.
You.
And all my youngness and blackness
Mm-hmm.
was their teacher. And so I walked outside and I was like, hey, y'all, come on in. And this little white girl, she was like, who are you? Neck rolling, everything. And I politely said, I'm your teacher.
Dr. Sara
And she's
Benson,
like, oh.
how may I help you?
And I got challenged a lot. I got challenged by a young white man, challenged me a lot that year.
Will probably continue to be.
Oh no, they don't challenge me no more.
Oh.
But they challenged me a lot that year. But people see my name and they automatic going off of what you're saying is this system of naming.
Yep.
And we assume things. But shout out to babynames.com and their Black Lives Matter speech and post. And I was like, you know what, babynames.com, y'all are all right with me. Because y'all put it out there and they made their post and I was here for it about these names. I also saw a post that I think is so empowering. It said to the Black girl with the bold name, make them say it. Make them say your name.
Make them say it.
Make them say your name every time. Because I think about all the times, all the students I have met, all the people who I've met who, because of their name, their given name, they'll give you a nickname.
Always.
Or they'll give you their middle name because it's so hard for somebody to pronounce it. It's so this, so this, so that. Make these folks say your name. Mm-hmm. Because the same way we say every Carly, Barley, Marley, whoever.
Right.
We can say your name too, boo.
Absolutely. And that goes for my Asian brothers and sisters.
Yes, our Asian brothers and sisters
who come in and come with the, my name is Charles.
That ain't your name.
No, it's not.
All of our Asian brothers.
Is Wan Chu.
We had interviews today with a few people from India. And the first thing we asked them was, how do we pronounce your name? Because I want to pronounce your first name. Right. You ain't got to give me your easy last name. What is your first name? Because that is the name your parents gave you. Right. And that's what we're going to call you.
Right. Now, just remember my other point. So and this is the last thing I'm going to say about systemic white people. So there's, of course, the racist white people and the systemic, the people who've contributed to the system. Black on black crime. Let us set the record straight. And it's the last that you will ever hear me say about it. Black on black crime. So obviously a common retort to Black Lives Matter is, well, what about black on black crime in all these major cities, in Detroit, Chicago, blah, 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 blah. What about black on black crime? When you shoot and kill your own brother, why would I value your life as well? Here's the thing about the notion of black on black crime. First of all, with crime, people commit crimes within their vicinity. And as we have eloquated and talked about beforehand, people typically live where they see people like them because of redlining, because of things like that. We're not going to revisit that. But people live around their own communities until they, of course, level up, move up to the suburbs and all that good stuff. But people commit crimes in their community where they live.
Yeah.
So if Joe and Johnny, who are white people, Joe commits a crime on Johnny, that is not referred to as white on white crime. It is referred to as a robbery. Right. So the thing about it is, there is no notion of black on black crime in Chicago because majority of Chicago is black. Majority of Detroit is black. Majority of Atlanta is black. Majority of Memphis is black. Majority of these other major towns are black. So the thing about it is people commit crimes around the people who they are around. The notion of black on black crime, as far as the systematic racism piece goes, is the propaganda that the up top people made in order to dehumanize and animalize us and make us seem like less than human. Because look at these people, these section of people, this race,
Yep.
that are killing themselves. Because you never will you hear the term in the media, white on white crime.
Never
Ever in life. You will just hear crime, robbery, theft, grand theft out. You will hear these terms. You will not hear white on white crime
at all.
So like I said, these are two things. So the names and the notion of crime. So for those of you who are white, make sure that you are educated on that. When somebody comes at you and said that, and you like, I don't know. No. Don't believe the hype. There is no such thing as black on black crime. There is crime, which is usually conducted in the same vicinity.
Yeah. And please don't use that. That's my biggest pet peeve when people say, oh, what about black on black crime? And I'm like, well, the reality of it is if black dude A kills black dude B, black dude A is going to jail. But normally, what we have seen is that's not always the case when it's the police and so on and so on. But that's a whole other show. So we're not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
Right. But just to characterize off that, that's also plays out in the courtroom as well. If John and DeJuan both commit a crime, they rob the corner store and they both get caught, John will maybe get 5 years and DeQuan will get 15 years or 20 years.
Yep. I saw a post the other day of two men, same crime, same day, same courtroom. The white man got 2 years in county jail. The black man got 26 years in prison. Same crime, same day.
So yeah.
In history.
So systemically, there is a problem, but we have to do what we can to just do your part. And so if that means that, you know what, when I walk into corporate America, I got to smile, code switch, make you feel comfortable, and make sure that make you seem that I'm not a threat. I'm gonna do what I got to do until I can build my own corporation and employ who I want to employ based on what they can bring to the table, not because they're just black or just because they're white or because they're Mexican or whatever, and I need to fill a quota. But do what you got to do with your superpower. And I want to end with this. Jane Elliott said it best. There is only one race, and that's the human race.
Yep.
So
right,
I love being black. I love being black, bliggity black. But when it comes to race, we are all part of the human race. Black, white, brown, Mexican, Asian, whatever your persuasion, we are all part of the human race. We all bleed red, and we all can truly make a difference.
I agree.
So unless you got anything, all right. So with that being said, I want to invite everyone who's still listening to the Saturday Brunch Q A. I will put the description. I'll put the link down in the description. Go and register, where we will be talking about conversations just like this one. So this weekend we are talking about what can I do to make a difference. I will be going in depth a little bit of what I talked about today, and we're trying to empower the people and, you know, make it do what it do. So pull up with your favorite brunch food. Where we're going live on Zoom. So you don't have to download Zoom, but you got to register just to have access. And we'll be talking about it. Pull up on Zoom at Saturday at 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to make it do what it do. We're going to get through this together. You got anything, Sarah?
Nope, I don't have anything. Everybody out there, y'all just stay safe. If you are protesting, stay safe. If you're at home, stay safe. This virus is still very real. Wear your mask, wash your hands.
Facts. All right, guys, give us that five-star review on iTunes. Share this with a friend. Share this with somebody who really, really needs this. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.